Hello, my name is Paddy. I'm the Mind Guy. I'm a mental health advocate and logistics consultant, and I've helped hundreds of professionals in the logistics industry with their mental health challenges in and out of the workplace. April is Stress Awareness Month, so I'm trying to speak to a number of professionals from across the industry about stress to find out what they've got to say. Today, I'm joined by the ginger mother trucker herself, Domino Homer. I keep wanting to say Horner. I'm so sorry. I know. Dom is a Class 1 night driver and she's an awesome Instagrammer. I've been a big fan for a little while now and I really like what you do. Hi, Dom. How are you?
Yeah, good. You?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm glad that we could find the time to speak. So, jumping straight in there, we've never worked together, but obviously Dom is Class 1 driver and I used to be a planner. So traditional enemies of one another, but I think we can make it through. So, Dom, can you tell us a little bit about your time in the industry? Like, where are you now and how did you get there?
So I've just only recently got my first year driving. I had my Class 2 in 2021, but I didn't actually use it. And then lockdown happened and that didn't help. So by the time I'd finally got my Class 1, I started off on curtain siders. Amazing opportunity with a company that took me on and actually they paid for my Class 1 and didn't ask me to sign anything to stay. So I did curtain side work and that was really good. And I learned a lot from them. They put me with a shunter for a week and I was with another driver for 2 months because they didn't have a truck available for me. So 2 months was a long time, but I learned a lot of things because there's one thing learning to pass your test. It's the same for your car. You learn to pass your test, but when you're actually doing it, you learn your own way. So I'd never actually driven a truck and trailer even after I got my Class 1. I learnt in a wagon drag. So I'd never coupled up.
Oh.
I'd never had to deal with a fifth wheel. So they were so helpful and I can't appreciate them enough for what they did for me. Curtain sider work wasn't for me though, and working days wasn't ideal. So I think a lot, especially for new drivers, it's about finding what suits because you've got day shift, night shift, tramping, you've got curtain side, flatbed, fridges. There's endless amounts of different opportunities. So I think I really like that about the job. So from there, I've gone from curtain side to I did some Class 2 agency work. It was meant to be Class 1, but they assumed when they saw me I was only a Class 2 driver. And I didn't realise that. So I went out in the little Class 2 and eventually they actually realised I have got my Class 1. I was the only one there that did. So they sent me out in that. And then that was only for a week though, because I wanted something more permanent. And it was using a pump truck. So anyone that's followed me, if they don't know already, I'm only 5'2". I'm not strong. And the amount of times I nearly came off head first off the back of a trailer because of a pump truck, it's not for me. I'm not strong enough for that.
No, that's fair.
And if I'm going to do that, I need to be wearing a GoPro because people need to appreciate it.
I was going to say, you could send that to You've Been Framed for 250 quid.
Exactly. I make some money out of it at least. From that, I did 1 day for DPD, so that was good. But again, it was still 7.5 ton. Sorry, it wasn't 7.5. It was Class 2. I think it was 12 maybe. And that was good, but it was multi-drop. So I realised I'm not really a fan of multi-drop. So it's just a case of going around finding what worked for me and what I liked. But all of that was day work. I then got a job. I don't think I'm missing anyone out. But I then got a job for Buffaloed, double-deck trailers, and absolutely loved it. The shifts were extremely long for me. And because my other half is a Class 1 driver as well, we both pushed each other at the same time to do it. But it was getting a bit tedious for our dogs. It wasn't fair, us both ending up potentially doing 15-hour shifts, and there's no one here You know, they're crated dogs in the day because they're Neapolitan Mastiffs. So they're in a cage so that I have a house to come back to at the end of the day. So I've got to put their needs first as well. So it worked out we'd need to work. We tried 4 on, 4 off, but that didn't work either because they pay strange. Some weeks I'd get 3 days pay. So then the stress of money was coming in. And I thought, like, I can't, you know, I don't want to be, I'm working hard and we earn good money. But if I can't cover the bills, my stress when it comes to money, it's not worth it. So I need to move on again. So now I'm with another company doing fridge work, but it's single trailers. So I can drive a little bit faster. Safely, obviously.
Yes, naturally.
Yeah, the wind doesn't bother me as much. But I do miss that because they had some fun double-deck trailers. But now I do 5 days on, 2 days off, the same as my other half. But I start 10 p.m, whereas he'll start more around 2 a.m. So it means that because my shifts seem to be shorter as well, they're not alone for too long. I have a house to come back to. They've not ripped up the underlay again and eaten the carpet. So, or the drywall. But, but yeah, so at the minute I'm doing single trailer fridge work. But I'm still setting goals for maybe more in the future. There's always room to progress. I'm still new. There's so much to learn.
Yeah, sounds like a really varied thing, and I find it really depressing that you've turned up with, because it's quite clear on your license when it says you've got a Class 1 or Cat C+E that you've got one, and it's depressing that they sort of saw you and went, "What? Can you not reach the pedals or something? Like what on earth went through their head?" That's just rude. That is.
To be fair, I do sit with the seat really low.
Do you? Well,
yeah.
Fair enough.
Otherwise, I can't.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, no, that's that's fair. So it sounds like you're really enjoying your time. You've enjoyed your time so far in the industry. But what do you find stressful? What do you find stressful about it?
As I find, I'd be surprised if people didn't say they had at least the odd bad day. So I think it's good as long as majority of your days, or it outnumbers the good, outnumbers the bad. For stress-wise, I think my main one is probably sleep deprivation, because I'm not a very good morning person. I like my sleep and I need to function with it, but it's just not plausible sometimes, a lot of the time. And lots of different factors can come in, but when you're already tired, you know, you're working, it isn't an easy job. You know, it's not just driving. You've got to have eyes in the back of your head. You're working unsociable hours. I mean, the hours I work are by choice, of course, but my body's like, no, you need to sleep. So even though you're working, you're fighting yourself. You're fighting your body wants to go to sleep. But you're driving, say, 56 mile an hour, 44 ton. You know, nobody wants you to be asleep. So that's hard. On top of being tired, though.
Ideally, no.
No. So on top of being tired, you know, you've got your own things outside of work, like family. Anything can happen. You might have, you know, I think one of mine is you'll get aggressive drivers on the road. So like yesterday, I was literally on my way back to the yard and I'd done a long day, only 14 hours, and I've been up since the day before and I'm almost home, and this Micra pulled out of nowhere and I was doing 50 mile an hour. I couldn't brake in time. So I didn't want to be aggressive and I didn't hold my horn down because I wanted to, but I didn't. I just flashed my lights as if to say, like, because I thought, clearly you can't see me, because if you had, surely you wouldn't have pulled out. I was wrong. She gave me the middle finger. And instantly my stress level rocketed. I'm ginger. I'm naturally stressed all the time anyways. But I just thought after everything I've done
Is there
today,
science behind that?
well, I don't think so, but it's you hear of red rage, don't you? So I try
It's
to
true.
keep it.
Sorry, go on.
I try to keep calm, but we do tend to have shorter fuses. It's just, I don't know, maybe that's my excuse. But yeah, so I just kept calm and I just tried to laugh it off. But inside you think I've worked really hard all week and a lot of it's delivering food for people. And the fact that people are so ungrateful, so rude and dangerous towards drivers, lorry drivers, especially after everything that I didn't personally during lockdown. But after all of those drivers, that got stuck in Kent, or I think it was Kent around Christmas, and they're all standing on bridges clapping for drivers that they're heroes and that. But now we're out of that situation. We're all back to being the problem. So, it just makes you feel a bit like I do this for me and my family. But it does mean sometimes you have a day where you just think, what's the point? So, and then you go to bed for a couple of hours and go and do it again.
Yeah. No, I get that. And it's interesting to me. Now, so before I worked in the industry, I sort of... I didn't really have the appreciation, but you don't realise actually everything when you're outside of the industry. You don't realise all the stuff that goes on behind and all the things you have to think about and all the stuff like that. You don't quite recognise actually how long it, for example, that micro. You don't recognise how long it takes to stop a lorry.
Yeah.
And and how much it's going to hurt if it hits you.
Yeah, a little bit dead.
So with that in mind. Oh God, just a little bit. So with that in mind, how does that stress affect you? What impact does it have on you?
In general, it doesn't affect my home life as much as it might do for some people, only because we're both in the same position. Well, we're both lorry drivers. We both work long hours.
Yeah.
And because we've changed our shift so many times to try and see each other a bit more as well, I know I can talk to him. We will talk to each other. We're very open. So most of the time it's me because he doesn't seem to be bothered that much. He can just be like, whatever. Whereas, I don't know, I'm not saying it's necessarily a gender thing. But I think for me personally, I take things a bit more to heart. So that woman giving me the finger, it didn't upset me. That really quite aggravated me. But it's one of those you think, it's a day after it's happened and it still popped in my head. It's still there. So in how it affects me, I guess, sometimes you're that tired. Like I've been awake since yesterday. I haven't slept yet. And my face is quite red. And sometimes I put a post up about, it was 2 pictures. It was half and half of my face. Because someone had said to me, actually a couple of my followers had asked me if I was all right. Because the later into the week it gets, the more of a mess I look. So, and they were polite about it. But I know what they mean. Because I took a photo at the beginning of the week and I put the other side on the other side of my face. And I posted that. And you can see the difference. I'm exhausted. It's worth it. I really do enjoy it. Majority of it, I do love it. And like I said, I've only been doing it a year. That might change. Yeah. But sometimes, even though you're so deprived of sleep and have pushed yourself, as soon as you shut your eyes, you've got all this stuff going around in your head. So even though you're exhausted, it can be hard to sleep. And I have friends that have said the same, that they have so much going on in their head, even though they need to sleep, they can't.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's quite common that people find this almost cycle of thoughts that's just constantly going. It's like when you've got an ear, like something stuck in your head, like a song stuck in your head, and you try and sleep and it's just there. Yeah. And that's really, really rough actually to try and get through that.
Well, you
especially when you're exhausted.
Yeah, well, you kind of you have to force yourself to go to sleep because obviously you're been driving and doing the same thing the next day. So then you're even more tired. So I think I genuinely am surprised that the how stressed I've been at some stages of my life for different reasons, that I haven't lost my hair. I mean, I have a lot of it. So you might not notice. I do brush my hair in the shower because of how much I have. And a lot of my hair does come out. So I don't know. That could just be because I have a mane. But I think, and things like I used to have lovely nails. I don't have any nails. I'm almost down to my elbows these days. But I do these things without even realising. Apparently I grind my teeth. I grind my teeth in my sleep.
Yeah.
So... yeah, and I obviously have started watching horror films and started like freaking out at work, but
yeah, I did see that on your Instagram the other day.
I put it down to tiredness.
But yeah, so yeah, just things that jump out of you in the yard.
Yeah.
So how do you manage your stress?
So years ago, when I had an event that happened in my life that was very stressful, like probably the most stressful thing I've ever been through, I ended up having a lot of conversations with my dad. And my dad said and he's always gone on about it, about making goals. And at the time when you're a kid, you just think, yeah, whatever. But he was so right. And so every year I make a goal, and they have got bigger. Like I'm a lot more ambitious than I ever was before, but it could be anything. So, one of my goals was to buy a house. One of them was to get my motorbike license. I'll get my car license, get my lorry licenses. But it doesn't have to be big. It could be like go on a holiday. I haven't been on holiday in years. Not abroad. I don't feel with the dogs. It's not feasible now anyways. But even if it's just right. So like later this year, another goal of mine, lose some weight, because health wise as well, I know that will make me feel better. Sleep wise, work wise, if someone does pass me a pump truck, I might have a hope, that I can actually use it and move some pallets. So I do think, even though it's driving, getting up and down in the truck, I mean, and because I have to do a split coupling, because I've got like a bit behind my headboard on the floor. I am going to put a post up about that at some point, but it makes it difficult I have to split couple and drop the trailer. So that's me getting in and out of the truck quite a few times, and then doing the landing legs. By the time I'm finished and I've hooked up to a trailer, I'm even more exhausted than I thought I could ever be. And I get about 3 to 4 trailers a day. So, but yeah, so I think having goals is a massive one for me. Even if it's just like, right, it's just something realistic, something that's achievable. Even if it's like, right, this year I'm going to try, I don't know, cut bread out for a week, or I'm going to, it could be anything, something that's important to you as a person. But it has massively helped me because, like, when I'm stressed, I have something I think, I'm working this hard, I am this tired, but this is my goal. And this is why I'm doing it. And then when it happens and you actually achieve that goal that year, it's such a good feeling.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I think there's two sides to that. One is, like you say, it's that kind of sense of accomplishment of actually doing something like, yeah. And the other is this kind of, we talk about like mindfulness being really good for good for stress management and mental well-being. And it basically means about being really aware of the here and the now, and and having that kind of, like you say, for example, cutting bread out, actually having to really think about what you're going to eat instead of what you normally eat. Like if you normally have toast for breakfast, like what else could you possibly eat? And starting to explore the other options there and think about it, because you actually have to think, do I like this cereal? Do I like porridge or whatever?
Yeah.
And having that awareness can really help people feel a lot better about everything.
Yeah.
So last but not least, what is your top tip for someone who's on a similar journey to you?
For being a lorry driver?
Yeah, why not?
Oh, I wasn't sure if you meant for like managing your stress.
Why not?
Probably my top tip would probably be just don't let anyone put you down, because you will, whether you're male or female, tall, short, thin, fat, whatever, you will have people, and I still now, and I know drivers that have been driving years still have people make comments. I'll pull in most places, and if they notice that I've driven in, then you're getting watched. You just have to ignore it. But I had people say, you don't, even family members say you don't want to do that career. No. And one had actually done it for a living, said you don't want to do that. It's long hours. You don't want to, it's not for you. But if it's something you want to do it. Do it. The thing is, it's one of those careers, you're not going to find out if you like it until you've gone and got your license and actually had a go. But what's the worst happens? You go and do it. You don't like it. There's plenty of other jobs out there, but you can say you did it.
Yeah. Domino, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. And now that you've finished your shift and finished this, I think you can probably go to bed.
I'll try. It's been lovely speaking to you. Thank you again.
No. Thank you so much for taking the time. I really appreciate it. And to all the listeners, thanks so much for listening. And we'll speak to you next time.